يسعدنا أن نستمع إلى الدكتور راجيف توماس الشريف المؤسس لمركز هوب قطر للأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة، ليقدم لنا عرضا بعنوان من الامتثال إلى التميز، دور الاعتماد في تحسين جودة التعليم. فليتفضل مشكور.
حسنا من الله صدق صح؟ How many minutes I spent? How many minutes did you count?
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. So, my presentation is going to be in English, and there is something else that I would like to say, a little disruptive. You know, when we are short of time and we want to watch a video, sometimes we change the audio speed to 1.5, 1.25 and 1 things like that. So, since I have quite a few things to cover, I'm going to switch over to 1.5 speed, so please stay in tune with me. So today I have a small discussion over here about how HOPE Qatar Center for Persons with Disabilities moved from what we call from compliance to excellence, using accreditation standards and using accreditation certifications. And this is a model that at the end of the day you will be able to pick up a few points from here that can be implemented at any centers or schools across Qatar as well. So today I would like to walk you through understanding a strategic model for multi-accreditation integration, exploring how it has helped in transforming institutional governance and educational quality at HOPE Center, learning how it aligns the organization with the national and international standards and certifications, and at the end of the day you would have gained sufficient information to take away things from here which can be implemented in any educational centers and establishments within Qatar or GCC or anywhere internationally. For those of you who may find it difficult to follow the language, please use Google Lens and it will translate it for you into Arabic on the spot as well. Right, so we have something called the 5 pillars of accreditation at HOPE Qatar. So what we used is something called the ISO 9001 Quality Management System Standards, which is a Geneva-based organization that has an international standard. I'm sure many of you or most of you are already familiar with 9001 Quality Management System certification. So we already have that certification, and now we've introduced something called the ISO 14001, which is an Environmental Management System certification. So we want to make sure that even at an educational center such as ours that caters for over 100 children with disabilities, we want to make sure that what we are doing does not have an environmental impact, and we assess every environmental aspect and impact of everything that we do using the ISO 14001 Environmental Management System standards, which is being implemented as we speak now. And we also have implemented the ISO 45001, which is an occupational health and safety standard, which is followed not just in health organizations, across industries, across educational centers, across any organization. It can be implemented to see how can we ensure that there is no health-related challenges or occupational hazards happening to the team members or the students studying at our educational institutions. And we have introduced also within our system something called the ISO 21001 Educational Organizations Management Standard. So this is very new to Qatar. There is only one school, which is the Birla Public School in all of Qatar, who has been certified to this educational standard. And now HOPE is introducing it and implementing it at HOPE Qatar as well. So we would become the only center in all of Qatar, in fact, only educational institution in all of Qatar that has all these standards. And to top it off, we have introduced the Qatar standards, QS standards as well. So now our management system has integrated all this together, and what we call as brought it into something called the HOPE Integrated Management System Standard. So there is a lot of standard clauses across all these different certifications which are same, which are similar. There are some differences, and if we must customize it, we can implement something like that across any institution in Qatar. So we are already certified to 9001, and in the next couple of weeks' time, we will be certified to all these different standards. So this is what we call as a pillar of accreditation on which the whole HOPE organization and our way of life is developed. So what it does for us is to take us beyond compliance. It takes us beyond compliance into strategically embedding the whole concept into what we are doing at our center. So it has been used as a tool for moving from just certification to transformation. At a center like ours, I don't care about certification. I don't need a certification, but I need a system that will take us from where we are to where we want to be. Especially I'm a person who travels a lot. and normally not in Qatar, but I want to make sure that the team on the ground has implemented something and there's a consistency in what they do and the level of quality is maintained across everyday's operations that we have. We also refocus ourselves from moving past the box ticking. So we're not doing it for the sake of doing it, and then the purpose was to build a system versus certification and to embed the standards into the strategy, culture, and the daily operation. So everybody in the organization talks about these standards. We have embedded it into the way of life at HOPE, if I would like to call it. And it has helped us to realign our vision, our mission, the key performance indicators, the key impact indicators, and the key result areas. So we measure all of this to make sure that we are on track in what we want to do in terms of the impact we create on every child who comes to our organization and center. And it has created a complete strategic shift in the perspective and the outlook of everybody in the organization. It's not something driven just by the top management. It's everybody's way of life at our center. So the HOPE alignment and improvement model is something that I want to show you, which is something that can be replicated and implemented in any organization, any educational center across the world. So right at the top of our model, we have our vision statement. The vision of our HOPE Qatar be to be the first choice of parents when it comes to seeking educational support for their children with disabilities. And then we have the mission statement, our strategic plan, which is a 5-year look ahead where we want to be and where we want to be in 10 years from now, and the key impact indicators based on which we measure the progress of our strategy and our plan. And then the second level of our alignment model has the customers on the left-hand side. So everything starts with what the customer expects from us. Who are the customers for education? It's not the children, but the parents of the children. So what do they expect out of us? And from here, we start driving. We have documented policy management system, the policies, the procedures, and the processes which form the documented management system, so that every member of the organization knows what to do, how to do, when to do, and there is consistency in the way that it is done. It doesn't have to be repeatedly told to anybody. And to top it off, we have done something else which is very unique approach that we have. What we call as, in a traditional organization, you will find that you have the management on the top. You always have the top management, then you have the second level of management, the third level of management, the staff, and so on and so forth. But what we did at HOPE is to turn the pyramid upside down. The traditional hierarchical organization structure has been turned upside down so that right at the top of everything that we do is the customers. And next to them are the teachers and everybody else within the organization who are dealing directly with the customers. They are empowered, they are trained, and they are qualified to take care of whatever the customer needs. They don't have to come back to the management. They know what they need to do, they have the power, and they are empowered to do it. So they are the people right next to the customers. And right at the bottom, you will find what we call as the mentors. My role as the founder and the managing director has changed. I am now a mentor to make sure that every person in my organization is a leader. Every person in the organization becomes connected to the customer and they embody the spirit of what we are trying to do. And next to that, we have another model of what we call as the continual improvement and growth cycle. So we plan what we want to do, and this is an annual planning and long-term planning. We do it, that's the implementation. We check it, which is to make sure that we are following what we wanted to do, and then we take action, which could be corrective action or preventive action, so that there is always a continual improvement cycle that is happening over there. And this doesn't have to be led by the team leaders, because everybody in the team can take care of something like that. And this is something new we have introduced in Qatar as well. HOPE Qatar over the 19 years does a lot of crazy innovative things. So what we are doing over there is called a 360-degree evaluation. What do you mean by a 360-degree evaluation? In a traditional organization, the employee's performance is rated and appraised by the direct supervisor. Okay? So if we are in good terms with the supervisor and if the system is not good, you could either be rated very well or you could be rated poorly and life goes on. But what we made sure to do is, I'm sorry about the graphics over there. Right on the top you find the supervisor, there's an employee in the middle. But now we have an evaluation system, a performance evaluation system, where an employee is also assessed by the people they work with, their peers, their colleagues, and everybody else in the organization. How well did you work with them? How have you performed against your key result areas, key impact areas, and key improvement areas? And then we also have an assessment by the employees who report to the supervisor. So The team people within the organization who are reporting to that particular individual also assess them, and most importantly, we make sure that the employee is also assessed by the customers that they serve. So that's why you on the right hand side over here, you have the customers and partners. So when you look at an overall holistic evaluation of a 360 degree, you really know how well this person is performing and how well they are contributing to the success of the organization. And when you combine all this, you can immediately go into customer satisfaction. And this is a process that we have at the second level of our model within HOPE Qatar. And the whole thing is based on compliance with the legislations and guidelines from whom? The Ministry of Education and Higher Education, you have their guidelines, you have your requirements, we have the requirements from Ministry of Trade and Commerce, we have the requirements from Ministry of Interior, we have the requirements from the Ministry of Labour. We cannot do anything outside what is required. So this is the foundation on which the entire model works. And then on the other side, you also have the international and the local benchmarks, the national priorities, Qatar National Vision 2030, collaborations, partnerships, all these things go into deciding how are we going to operate this model. And supporting everything over there is the slide that I spoke about earlier, all the international standards that make sure that we are actually doing this on an automatic process, and it's almost on an autopilot mode over there at HOPE. So what are the key benefits that we derive from this model at HOPE Qatar? Senior leadership like me, can focus on strategic priorities rather than operational requirements. I don't need to worry about the operational requirements because the team knows what they do and they're all leaders on their own. We can focus on macro issues, and while the execution is happening at the micro levels, we have empowerment of multi-level leadership because we are creating leaders. Every day we create leaders, and they say the most successful leader is one who can make himself redundant, and that's our objective. So then we link this to the personal performance and organizational goals through the KRAs, the key result areas, key performance indicators, and key impact indicators, which I mentioned earlier. And we have the automatic management systems that have been established that make sure that we don't have to go through a lot of paperwork and stuff to do things at home. Everything happens pretty smoothly. We're driving the national and educational transformation and setting trends. When we started 19 years ago, we were the only center. Now there are 32. So what can we do differently? What can we create new in Qatar that others can follow? And that's our priority in HOPE Qatar. And I think this model can help a lot of us to move in that direction. Right, and we have the innovation at all levels that is happening, and we are definitely supporting the Qatar National Vision 2030 and the human development pillar especially. And we have the improvements happening in quality, safety, health, environment, and the educational management because we have introduced that new standard which I mentioned. And it has definitely heightened student outcomes, customer satisfaction, and beyond customer satisfaction, what we call as customer glee is a step beyond just satisfying the customer. And we have enhanced the automatic compliance because now I do not need to make a report to give to the Ministry of Education because the report is being generated automatically. Every time they call, it's just ready, take it and give it to them. If the Ministry of Labour wants something, it's automatic. So the compliance becomes an automatic part of what we are doing rather than an additional effort that anybody has to do. We are benchmarked against global accreditation standards, and the uniqueness of approach, culture, and impact since 2006, 19 years, by the grace of God, we've been able to successfully transition a lot of students into mainstream. We have served around 420 students as of today in the last many years. It's a replicable and scalable model. So anybody can take this model, anybody can adapt it, and it can be scaled up. If it's a smaller organization, scale it down. If it's a larger organization, scale it up. And at HOPE, it's not just about business and profit. We don't want to make profit out of people with disabilities. We want to create an impact in their life, and it's about creating positive difference in everything that we do for the life of the students, the teachers, and the nation in itself. So that's basically it. Thank you so much, and I really want to thank the leadership of the team for bringing together all of you for the very first educational symposium over here, and I'm happy to contribute to this. And if anybody wants to contact us on how to adapt this model in your institutions, just feel free to contact us through the ministry or directly to us, and we'll be very happy to support you to implement it. God bless you all, and let us do wonderful things in Qatar. Thank you.